Today we'll be discussing about correlation analysis. Now, by the relation, correlation means relation between what? Relation between variables. So we will be discussing how the uh, different variables, economic variables, are related. Why we are interested? What is the need for this correlation? We want to know how price and demand are correlated, how income and consumption are correlated. So let us go to the PPTs and see what is the purpose of correlation, how it is used, what are the advantages of this correlation, where it should be used. Okay, so we'll go to the PPT. Today this is a webinar on statistics for economics. So this is webinar is on statistics for economics, and today's session is the fourth session in the series. This is on correlation analysis. Then first question is, why correlation analysis? Correlation analysis is basically to study the relationship between two variables, say height and weight. How height and weight are related? Are they very strong? Then, then daily hours student studies. Is it anything to do with the score, marks scored by the student? So some people say he keeps on studying, but he doesn't at all score high marks. There are other students who don't read much. They read only for few hours but score high marks. So are these two variables, that is number of hours studied daily and the marks scored by a student, are they related or not? Is a question to be answered. So people. Now another question is income level and education level. Do you think highly educated person will get high income? There may be a PhD who has completed PhD, his income will be low. Whereas somebody who is not even postgraduate, he will be drawing high salary. So there may be a question whether education level and income level are they correlated. It's another question which one has to be interested in knowing the answer. Similarly, whether the length of experience and income levels are they related? Somebody has putting more 20 years service, 25 years service, but another person has put only 5 years service. His income may be more than the person who has put long years of service. So again, this another question which one may be interested: length of service and income level. Then this another political question, whether during election campaigning a candidate keeps on delivering the public lectures, and but at the end of the after the election we see he may not have secured more votes. Does the public meetings held by the candidate and votes secured by him in election, are they related? Sometimes some candidate may not have done much public publicity, but he will manage to score a secure good number of votes. So the question is whether the number of public meetings addressed by the candidate in election during election campaign and the votes scored by him, secured by him in the election, are they related? This is another question one may be interested. So per capita, again, another question is per capita income and infant mortality. Are they related? Somebody says in rich countries, infant mortality will be less. Yeah, but in poor countries, infant mortality may be more. So how closely these two variables are related? Similarly, price of product and sales of a company. If the general we expect if price is low, sales may be more likely. How far these things? So we have discussed, raised few questions where we want to know how these variables are correlated, whether they are strongly correlated or weakly correlated or no correlation at all. So, because that will help us to answer many questions. So, correlation analysis basically helps us to know how the two variables which we are interested in are correlated. How strong is the correlation between the two variables? So now the correlation can be of different types. Suppose we are discussing two variables x and y. So as x increases, y also increases. As x decreases, y also decreases. This is called positive correlation. Both move in the same direction. An increase in x is accompanied by an increase in y. A decrease in x is accompanied by a decrease in y. So their movement is in movement of the two variables x and y are in the same direction. On the other hand, there can be negative correlation. What is negative correlation? The movement is will be in opposite direction. That is, if x increases, y decreases. When y decreases, x increases. Say price and demand. When price increases, when price increases, demand decreases. When price decreases, demand increases. So this is called negative correlation between demand and price because they are moving in opposite direction. They are moving in opposite direction. Then there can be two variables where there is no correlation. There can be two variables where which are not related with one another. For example, when x increases, there is no change in y. When x decreases, there is no change in y. So a change in x, an increase or decrease in x has no influence on y. So no, they are not related. So we have discussed three types of correlation. One is called positive correlation. Here both x and y move in the same direction, like sales and sales. You can take sales and advertisement expenditure. If advertisement expenditure increases, sales will also increase. On the other hand, there can be negative correlation, which in price and demand. They move in opposite direction. So negative correlation. There can be two variables which may not be correlated. That is, a change in x is not at all, there is no change in y. So there can be positive correlation between two variables. There can be negative correlation. There can be no correlation also. So now let us see how to measure the correlation. How to measure the correlation. A statistician by name Carl Pearson has given a formula to measure the strength of correlation between the two variables. This is called coefficient of correlation, and generally it is denoted by letter R. R is the correlation between two variables x and y. And how it is measured? The correlation, the formula is on the PPT. The correlation is measured by n summation xy minus summation x summation y. In the denominator, it is a square root of n sum of x square minus sum of x whole square. Likewise, in the second bracket, we have n sum of y square minus sum of y whole square. So the formula appears to be very big, but once you start calculating, it becomes very easy. So don't worry about the size of the formula. A big elephant can also be tamed. Like that big formula, don't worry about the bigness, but it can be tamed. It will become very familiar if you practice. So don't worry about that. Now this correlation coefficient varies in the range of +1 to -1. The maximum will be +1, minimum will be -1. The maximum value will be +1, the minimum value will be -1. we'll try to interpret the values. What is plus? When r is equal to plus 1 means there is a perfect positive correlation between x and y. That is, both x and y increase in the same direction, but there is a proportionate increase. That is, f increases by 10%, y also increases by 10%. If x decreases by 5%, y also decreases by 5%. That is, there is a proportionate change in same direction in both x and y. Then we say it's a perfect positive correlation. When r is equal to 0.8, we say though they may not be very perfect positive correlation, but it is a strong correlation. 0.8, r is equal to 0.8 means they are very strong. There is a strong correlation between x and y. If it is r is equal to 0.3, we say it is a positive correlation, but it is weak. It is not strong. If r is equal to 0.3, we say the correlation between the two variables under discussion is positive, but it is not strong. It is weak correlation. Positive but weak correlation. Now r equal to 0 means there is no correlation between the two variables under the discussion. R equal to 0 means there is no correlation between the two variables under discussion. R equal to minus 0.3. It means it's a negative correlation and also weak correlation. It's negative and weak correlation between x and y. R equal to 0.8, minus 0.8 means it is strong and negative correlation. It's a negative correlation, but it is very strong. They are negatively correlated and strongly correlated. And r equal to minus 1 means there is a perfect but negative correlation. What does perfect and negative correlation means? If x increases by 10%, y decreases by 10%. Similarly, if x decreases by 5%, y increases by 5%. So the movements are in opposite direction, but there is a proportionate change in both x and y. So the value of r ranges between plus 1 to minus 1. Plus 1 means perfect positive correlation. R equal to minus 1 means perfect but negative correlation between advertisement expenditure and sales. How advertisement expenditure influences sales of a company. The data is given advertisement expenditure ranging from 7, 9, 10, like that, 11, 13, and corresponding sales are also we have presented in the next column. So advertisement expenditure we are calling it as X, and sales we are denoting it by Y. So both are moving in the same direction. As advertisement expenditure is increasing, sales also is increasing. So we expect a positive correlation, but we want to know how strong is the correlation. How strong is the correlation? For this, we have to work out some columns. What are the working columns? First, we have to multiply xy, each observation, that is 7 into 16, 9 into 19. Like that, we have to keep on multiplying. That is called xy, x into y column. So then we have to find next column will be x square. That means we have to square all the x's. That is 7 into 7 is 49, 9 into 9 is 81, 10 into 10 is 100, like that. 11 into 11 is 121, 13 square is 169. Okay. Then we also have to have this thing, y square. Also we have. So now we have below we have given the all n is number of observation. Here n is 5 and sum of x is 50. sigma x means sum of x column is 50. So like that we have all noted. Sum of x whole square means sum of x into sum of x, that is called 2500. Sum of x whole square is summation x has to be squared. Summation x is 50 and its square will be 2500. Like that. Sum of y is 100. Sum of y whole square will be 10,000. Now sum of x square. We have the fourth column shows sum of x square. Sum of x square is 520. So kindly note the difference. Sum of x whole square is different from sum of x square. Sum of x whole square means first we do the sum, we got 50 and we are squaring it. So sum of x whole square in this example will be 2500. Whereas sum of x square means first we are squaring and then we are adding. So squaring means x square is 7 into 7, 49, 9 into 9, 81. So first we are individually squaring them and then we are totaling them. It is only 520. So there is a difference between sum of x whole square where first we sum them up and then square it. Whereas sum of x square is first we are squaring and then we are adding them up. So kindly make a note that sum of x whole square is different from sum of x square. The operation sum of x whole square means first we sum and then square it, whereas sum of x square means first we square them and then we total them. Then we are applying the formula which I showed earlier in the slide. And this formula now we have all the values, that is n we have sum of xy, that is 520, sum of x is 50, sum of y is 100, n is 15 in the denominator. We have sum of x square we have worked out, sum of x whole square also we have worked out. So sum of y square we have worked out, sum of y whole square, and we have applied this formula. Okay, we have applied this formula. We have applied this formula. Okay. So now, after applying and simplifying, we have got R is equal to 0.98. So 0.98 means almost it is 1. So it's very positive, almost very strong. The correlation between advertisement expenditure and sales of a company are positively and strongly correlated. This is how we have to apply the Karl-Pearson formula, and now we have found that there is a strong and positive correlation between advertisement and a sales of a company. So now I hope this is a very simple concept. We go to a next problem, next concept. Here, all this correlation is called Karl-Pearson correlation is called ordinary correlation coefficient. Now we go to partial correlation. What is partial correlation? We want to know strength of relationship between two variables when the influence of third variable is eliminated. Suppose we are considering three variables and we want to know what is the influence what is the correlation between variable 1 and 2 when third variable is kept held constant. So there are three variables we are under consideration, and we want to find the correlation between 1 and 2, variable 1 and variable 2, when the third variable is kept constant, is held constant. Suppose income of a person depends upon his education level and the length of experience. So now there are three variables we are considering. Income is one variable, second variable is education, third variable is length of experience or service. Now we want to know what is the correlation between income of a person and his education level. When the influence of length of experience is held constant, is eliminated. We don't want the influence of, want to remove the influence of this length of service on income and education level, and see only correlation between education level and income when the influence of the length of service is eliminated. Then that correlation is called partial correlation. That is called, now we are saying partial correlation between income and education. Because why we are calling adding adjective partial, because we are eliminating the influence of length of service on income, and also we are eliminating the influence of length of service on education. So once we remove the influence of the third variable on the first variable, and also of the third variable on the second variable. So after eliminating the influence of third variable on first variable as well as second variable, after eliminating we'll find the correlation between the first and second variable. Then what we get is called partial correlation between the education level and income. Likewise, sales of a company depends upon its advertisement expenditure and income of the buyers, income of the people. So now I want to, earlier we did sales of company and its advertisement. Suppose income also influences the sales of a company. I want to remove the influence of income on the advertisement expenditure as well as on the sales, and then find the correlation between the advertisement expenditure and sales of the company. So this is what we are calling, then it is called, we get a partial correlation coefficient between advertisement expenditure and sales of the company. Now we have the concept called correlation coefficient. We know what it is. When the third variable is also playing the role, we want to remove its influence and see the correlation between first variable and second variable after removing its influence, after eliminating its influence. But how to calculate? Question is how to compute correlation coefficient, partial correlation. Earlier we have seen ordinary correlation coefficient given by Karl Pearson, we have seen. Now we'll see how to calculate partial correlation coefficient. So the formula is on your PPT. Here we want to find R, that is correlation coefficient between. Now partial correlation coefficient, we have seen what is the concept. The concept is a very interesting concept. We want to remove the influence of third variable on the first variable and second variable, and then find the correlation between the first and second variable after removing the influence of the third variable. That is called partial correlation between first and second variable after eliminating the third variable, influence of the third variable. So now here R, X, Y dot Z, point Z we have put. So we want to find the partial correlation coefficient between Y and X when Z is held constant, when the influence of Z is removed. when the influence of Z is removed. So the formula here is we have to find the first ordinary correlation coefficient between y and x. From that, that is Ryx is ordinary correlation between y and x between two minus ordinary correlation coefficient between y and z into ordinary correlation between x and z. So this we know already how to calculate ordinary correlation between y and x, y and z, and x and z. So numerator can be easily computed. In the denominator, we have square root of 1 minus r square yz. R square means squaring the yz we know. Square that we'll get r square yz. 1 minus r square yz. Again the second second factor in the denominator is 1 minus r square xz. That is how to get r square xz. That is we have to square the correlation, ordinary correlation between x and z. Square it, you will get r square xz. The square of the r xz will be r square xz. So it's not really complicated because we have to, first of all, first step is you compute all the ordinary correlation coefficient between x and y and z, and x and z. Or after calculating these three ordinary correlation coefficients, you substitute in this formula and work out. You will get the partial correlation. This is the we have already find the correlation between advertisement expenditure and sales. Now I am finding the correlation between income and sales. So the data is given here. Income is 43578, and the sales the same figure, that is 16, 19, 20, 22, 23. Same data has been reproduced. Then we have multiplied the product of the two variables x and this thing that y, that income should have been z. Take income as z. So income is z. So we have to find the correlation z and y. So yz we have shown. Yz is where income is z. Here income is z. So 4 into 16, 64, 3 into 19, 57, like 5 into 20, 100, like that. That is y into z. Z is income. Z is income. Then we have z square. We have to square the z, that is income. That is 4 square is 16, 5 square, that 3 square is 9, 5 square is 25, like that. So z square. Again we have y square, which we have already calculated in earlier case. That is 256. That is 16 square is 256. 19 square is 361. Like that and 20 square is 400. So these are the working sheet, and we have again applied the same Karl Pearson correlation coefficient. We have got the correlation coefficient between z, that is income and this thing sales is 0.837. This is the correlation between income. This is the ordinary correlation coefficient between income and sales. Now we have to again calculate the correlation between advertisement expenditure and income. We have to. So here again income is z, that is 43578, which we have earlier shown. advertisement expenditure again from the first slide, earlier case, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13, same data. So we have to work out the correlation between Z and X, we multiply X into Z, that is 4 into 7, 28, 3 into 9, 27. Like that we have calculated XZ column. Then we have a Z square. Again, Z square is income square. Already we have computed in the earlier case. It is reproduced here. Then we have X square. Again 49. Again this was already computed in earlier first case also. So we have reproduced the same figure and we have applied the formula to find the correlation between Z and XZ. The correlation happens to be 0.86. The correlation happens to be 0.86. Now we have ordinary correlation between all the three variables, and will next slide. Now partial correlation. So we have worked out that the partial correlation coefficient is 0.93. So using this data, we will using the data, that is correlation between the three variables, two at a time, we substitute in this formula, and then we get our partial correlation between Y and X will be 0.93, whereas ordinary correlation is 0.98. Ordinary correlation between advertisement expenditure and sales is 0.98, whereas partial correlation between advertisement expenditure and sales is only 0.93. Slightly it has come down. So always you have to, don't be satisfied with the ordinary correlation coefficient. If you want to be really very reliable results, you will get if you use partial correlation coefficient. Ordinary correlation coefficient, yes, you will get, sometimes it may be misleading. So we have to be, if we suspect that there is a third variable which also influences the two variables end of study, then it is always better to use partial correlation coefficient. It happens sometimes a third variable also influences the first two variables, then better you take that, you eliminate the influence of the third variable on variable 1 and 2, then compute partial correlation. In this case, there is not much change. Ordinary correlation coefficient between sales and advertisement expenditure happens to be 0.98, and partial correlation coefficient after removing the influence of income from the both is 0.93. So there is, sometimes it may change very much, sometimes it may not change, but always it is preferable to check whether by taking partial correlation coefficient, whether there will be big change. Otherwise, if you just look only at ordinary correlation coefficient, you may be misled sometimes, not always, sometimes. So you have to be always careful to check. Now we have seen concept where variables x and y can be measured. Then we can apply these formulas, whether ordinary partial coefficient or partial correlation coefficient, we can do. But what about the case when we are dealing with variables which cannot be measured, but we can rank them? We can rank them. How? In such a case, we cannot use Karl Pearson correlation coefficient. We have to use what is called Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Spearman has given another measure to find the correlation between items when they are ranked, two series when they are ranked. So here Spearman rank correlation is denoted by RS to S means Spearman's. The formula is 1 minus 6 sigma d square divided by n into n square minus 1. N is number of observation. Here I said 5 students. N is number of observation. What is the D? D is the difference in the ranks. D the difference in the ranks given by the two teachers. Now we will take a simple numerical example and see how to work out this formula. So now there are 5 students. The rank given by the first teacher or first judge is the first student, teacher 1 gives. Now here there are 5 students. Judge 1, for first candidate, judge has given rank 3, while judge 2 has given rank 2. For second candidate, judge 1 has given rank 4 and judge 2 has given rank 5. For third candidate, first judge has given first rank 1, while second judge has given rank 3. Like that, for fourth candidate, the ranks given by first judge, rank given by the first judge is 5, and while the rank given by the second judge is 4. And to the last candidate, first judge has given rank second rank, while the second judge has given first rank. So now 5 judges have given ranks to the 5 candidates, second judge also given some ranks. Now we are taking the difference in the ranks given by the 2 judges. That is, first for first candidate 3 minus 2, the difference is 1. For the second candidate, the difference is 4 minus 5, that is 1. For third candidate, difference is 1 minus 3, that is 2. So we are not taking algebraical sign, we are only taking the difference. For the fourth candidate, difference in the rank is 5 minus 4, that is 1. And for the last candidate also, the difference in the rank given by the 2 judges is 2 minus 1, that is 1. So these are the ranks, difference in the ranks. So next is we have to square the ranks. We have to square the ranks. We have squared the ranks. So 1 square is 1. Again 1 square is 1. 2 square is 4. And again 1 square is 1. Again 1 square is 1. Sum of d square has become 8. Sum of d square has become 8. And we have applied to this rank correlation coefficient, that is 1 minus 6 times d square. D square is here 8. 8 is d. D square will become 64. So yeah, d square is 64. The d square itself is 8. D square itself is it. We don't have to square. D square itself is 8. So the formula is 1 minus 6 times 8, because d square is 8, divided by 5 into n square, that is 25 minus 1. 25 minus n square minus 1 is 25 minus 1, 24. So it will become 1 minus 6 into 8 in the numerator will become 48, divided by 5 times 24. So if you simplify that, you get a rank correlation as 0.51. So the rank correlation is positive, but not very perfect. The ranks given by the 2 judges is positive, but not very perfect. There's some differences. There are some differences. So this is one example how rank correlation coefficient can be used in cases when the variables cannot be measured. When the variables cannot be measured. I will give some similar examples where the variables cannot be measured, but we can rank them. Suppose some two customers go to a shop, they see different varieties of saris, and then some 8 varieties of saris there. So then we'll ask you arrange according to your preference. So one person, first customer will say this my first choice, next second choice, third choice. So they give the ranks. Again, second customer also give the ranks to the 8 items. Then we'll ask, we'll try to work out whether their preferences are matching or not. So like customers, two customers, whether their preference for a design of saris, whether they are matching or not. Like that, instead, I can ask the same customers, arrange these items according to the colors you like. Somebody may like green, another may like yellow. They give different order, arrange. So again, we can arrange these their preferences and see whether their preference are matching in terms of color. Designs, whether of the two customers are they matching. Similarly, we can ask students, maybe two students. There are different varieties of chocolates. So you can arrange the children, ask which variety of chocolate you like first, next which. So if we have some 5 or 6 varieties, the first child will arrange in one rank, give one order, second child may arrange in another order. Then we will see whether the children's preference are matching or not. So again, we can use Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. So we can use Spearman rank correlation when the two characters which we are studying cannot be measured, but we can arrange them we can assign ranks. We can assign preferences, taste, preference for colors, intelligence, ranking given by the two judges. All these things are variables which cannot be measured, but they can be ranked. In such case, we can use Spearman rank correlation. Correlation and causation, are they? Many people confuse correlation is a causation. Some two variables may be highly correlated, but there is no causation between the two variables. That we have to be aware. So correlation, high correlation doesn't automatically mean there is a causation between the two variables. See, number of heart attacks and number of telephones in a country over a period of time. The number of telephones are also increasing, number of heart attacks in the country is also increasing. And if you take only statistical correlation coefficient, they will be strongly correlated. They are all strongly correlated. There is a strong correlation between number of telephones in the country and the number of heart attacks. Over a period of 10-year data you take, how the heart attacks in the country is increasing, how the telephones are increasing. So there may be strong correlation between the two variables, but there is no causation. Heart attack will not cause telephones or telephone will not cause heart attack. So just because there is a high correlation, don't jump to the conclusion there one is the cause, other is the effect. High correlation does not automatically imply that there is a causation between the two variables. That is, one is the cause, the other variable is the effect. That is, X is the cause of Y. Don't jump to the conclusion. There may be high correlation. The high correlation does not imply or guarantee that there is a causation. You have to build a theory. Without theory, you can't find. And many times, it so happens that what we expect in theory, the ground data doesn't give the same thing. So now, suppose you expect the demand and price to be negative. So you see how the prices are increasing, how the demand is increasing. You collect the data, and then you get a positive correlation. Prices are also increasing. More people are buying more also. Your economic theory says that the price and demand must be negative related. There must be negative correlation coefficient between price and demand. There is a negative, there must be negative correlation, because when prices are increasing, people are buying more of it also. Then you say which is cause, which is demand, which is effect. Economic theory says that when price increases, people should buy less. There must be negative correlation. But in ground reality, when you collect the data, as years are increasing, the prices are increasing, the demand is also increasing. People are buying more. There may be a third variable which is also increasing. Over a period of time, income of the people is also increasing. So, therefore, if you want to know the relationship between the price and demand, you have to see that other variables are held constant. If the people's income is increasing, then there may be positive correlation between price and demand. Or sometimes it so happens that people expect that prices will go up further in the future. In anticipation, people buy more even when the prices are increasing. So it is many and effect relationship. We have to study the theory and check ground reality, and then don't, instead of using only ordinary correlation coefficient, it is always safe to use partial correlation coefficient. This is what I wanted to caution. Just high correlation does not automatically means there is a cause and effect between the two variables under the study. Okay. So another important thing is the two variables may be correlated, but the correlation coefficient can be zero. Two variables are correlated, but correlation coefficient can be zero. So Karl Pearson correlation coefficient only measures whether there is a linear relationship between the two variables. Whether there is a linear relationship between the two variables. Whether there is a linear relationship between the two variables. Now I'll find the correlation between x and x square. Find the correlation between x and x square. It is a assignment you can take. X value is, x ranges from -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Let me repeat. X is -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. These are 5 observations. X is -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. These are corresponding value of x square will be -1 square will be 1, -2, first I started with -2, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So -2 square will be 4, -1 square will be 1, 0 square will be 0, 1 square will be 1, plus 2 square will be 4. If you find the correlation between these two, you will not get it. There is a danger that you will get it 0. That is correlate x. What is the value of x? -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. Now you are seeing they both are increasing. X square will be -4, x square will be 4, but actually they are correlated because one is the square of other. There may be no linear, if r is equal to 0 means there is no linear relationship. There can be non-linear relationship. So Karl Pearson coefficient of correlation only measures whether there is a linear relationship between the two variables under study. If the two variables are not linearly, they may be related, but relationship is non-linear, then Karl Pearson should not be used. Karl Pearson should not be used. Suppose consumption function, we say if it is a curve, income is increasing, consumption is bending, then correlation coefficient may be not very. Correlation, Karl Pearson correlation coefficient must be used only when linear relationship. If those who have economics knowledge, average cost curve is a U-shaped curve. Average cost curve is a U-shaped curve. As output level increases, in the beginning average cost will be high, but as output increases, the average cost comes down up to one level, and then again average cost starts increasing. Then again after some level, as output increases, average cost increases. That is, average cost in the beginning will be very high. As output increases, the average cost comes down up to a level. After that level, again average cost increases. So average cost is U-shaped. So the level of output, if you try to find the correlation between the level of output and the average cost, you may get a low correlation coefficient because there is non-linear relationship. Output is steadily increasing in a linear manner, but average cost first was high, it decreased, and then again increased. And if you have series like that, you may get a low correlation. But both the level of output and average cost are related, but there is a non-linear relationship. So Karl Pearson correlation coefficient only measures linear relationship between x and y. So we should use it when you suspect there is a linear relationship between x and y. Otherwise, don't use Karl Pearson correlation coefficient.